Remember Martin Luther King's I Had a Dream speech? At one point he said,
And I might not get there with you.
well, he wasn't just talking about himself. It's a lot of us that are not going to get there. And as cruel as that sounds, that's just the way it is, period. Every group has people that just are not going to make it for whatever reason. I'm not advocating just totally turning your back on them, but what you got to realize is that you can only help yourself. So if you take care of what you need to do and get yourself there, that's about all you can do humanly possible. I recommend taking care of yourself first, getting yourself squared away, and then once you do that, then you can help out other people that you see are already trying to move in the direction that you know that they should be going in. Now, if that doesn't work because you feel like that's just too much, what you can do is what I've also done myself. That is, you're going along and you're doing what you need to do, and you help out people as you go. Now, you know that doesn't take any money. It just basically takes a good Samaritan type of attitude. But you have always got to keep in mind that there are some people who don't want to do the right thing. I mean, there's no elitism in this. This is just a fact of life. There's some folks that are happy where they are. They may complain about the situation, but deep down inside, they really like it because it's familiar. The thing that people fear is the unknown, and for some people, success is an unknown. So they don't want to be successful or even just reach a bare minimum standard of decent living. Man, you do what you can, but don't let yourself be swallowed up at the expense of another person. I mean, this is easy things. You know, if somebody needs some money, so let's say you know someone who needs some money. I do not loan money. I give money. I don't loan it. I give what I can afford to lose. Now this is what I do. I'll give you money like 3 times. If you don't pay it back after giving you money 3 times, then when you ask, I just say I don't have it. But the trick is I never give more than I can afford. The only exception I make to that is someone who's blatantly homeless. Now, if I see a homeless guy on the street and I give him $20, I don't expect that money to come back. That's just common sense. But there are people who are a step away from homeless because they're battling various addictions and psychological issues. It could even be just flat laziness, but I doubt that's the issue. A lot of it is mental trauma. And some of that mental trauma does come from, class oppression and racism. But, they can't handle it. You help them, you give them money 3 times, and then that's it. And as far as where the black community is going, we don't want to admit how much of a problem this racism is. And we also act like the racists who are oppressing us are somehow responsible for getting us out of the situation. While that does sound nice on a humanitarian level, realistically it's not going to happen. You can't expect the person who is trying to do you wrong for their advantage to change. It's not going to happen. That doesn't mean that all white people are bad. No. Some of them are bad, just like some black people are bad. There are some black people who like our bad situation so they can take advantage of it themselves. So if you have figured out that there's a person who is the type that wants to take advantage of you, you don't expect that person to help you. And where can you get help? I think that you can get help from the Bible. Now let me preface this by saying we need to separate using the Bible from going to church. The church has. Lots of churches aren't even teaching what's biblical anymore. So, they're giving their bad interpretations of things. I guess they always have. They're doing stuff that if you actually read the Bible, you're like, that's not in there. That's not in there. What are they talking about? Especially now, like when they're catering to homosexuals, not because they like homosexuals, but just because they just want gay people's money. That's all it is. Now that, if you ever notice, when more and more gay people kind of became an identifiable group and were making more money on average, I think that's when the so-called tolerance came in place. So I don't really think that they like people that are gay, really. I think they just want their money. Just like I don't think a lot of people, not all, but some of the elements that tend to do the exploiting in the church, I don't think they really like poor people. I think they just want poor people's money. Because if they really, really cared about folks, things would not be the way they are. It's not to say there aren't good people in church. But what I'm saying is, if you're looking for a solution, you can pick up the Bible yourself and just start reading it. You know, people do it with fables. They look at fables and they can see a moral in there and everything else. So why can't you pick up a book that has been known for morality, read it, and see if it can help you? Have I done this myself? Of course. That is the main thing I feel like that got me out of a life of poverty. I've read the Bible, I went to school, and I worked hard. Because the wisdom lessons in the Bible actually helped me to make bad decisions. In addition to that, I talked to older people, asked them questions. They gave me advice. And what did I do? Before I even got to where now I'm considered quote unquote have made it or established whatever the heck, as I was going along, if there was someone else I could help, it doesn't have to be monetary. It can be as simple as a little bit of your time. If I see that person struggling or they need my help and there's something I can help them with, I just help them. That's what we got to do, people. It's the Good Samaritan idea. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Go to Wikipedia, you'll find it. The Good Samaritan thing, that is what I think black people need to do in order to conquer this thing we call racism. Let me pause for a second. See, what some of y'all want to do is change people. You really can't change people directly by yourself. The only thing I've seen do that is religion or the gun. Let me read this little excerpt from Wikipedia about the Opium Wars. No, this is just under opium. Chairman Mao, here it is. The Mao Zedong government is generally credited with eradicating both consumption and production of opium during the 1950s using unrestrained repression and social reform. 10 million addicts were forced into compulsory treatment. Dealers were executed. Let me read that again. Dealers were executed, and opium-producing regions were planted with new crops. Now, since none of us have the power or the inclination to do something that radical, and I wouldn't want you going around just killing dealers anyway, I don't know. No. The one thing you can do is you can eradicate bad influences from your life. So if you know people that are doing the wrong thing, you can eradicate them from your life. You don't have to commit murder, but you cannot associate with them. All they're going to do is pull you down. So that's my idea for solutions, I guess, as to what we need to do. And that's all I got.